Hello everyone, my name is Kevin and I want to welcome you to SIXR. In today's video we are going to talk about data types. The data type tells you or tells the C# compiler what kind of value a variable can hold. C# includes many built-in data types for different kinds of data. For example, a string, a number, a float, a decimal and an object. Each data type includes specific range of values. For example, a variable of an integer data type can have any value between -2 billion up to a positive number of 2 billion as well. The same way, a bool data type can have only two types of values: a true statement, which is always number 1, and a false statement, which is always the number 0. I will show you now a list of possible data types which are available in C#, along with the range of values of each data type. There you go. So we have a lot of data types with C#. We do have a byte, a sbyte, a int, a uint, a short, a ushort, a long, a ulong, a float, a double, a character, a bool, an object, a string, a decimal, and also a datetime. We need to differentiate each data type. So we have different types. So as an example, a byte is an unassigned data type, which has a size of 8 bits. Okay, and an unassigned data type can only have a range between 0 to a positive number. As an example, a byte can have a range from 0 up to 255. A sbyte is a signed integer type data type, which can go into the negative value and also to a positive value, which starts at -128 and it goes up to 127 in the positive value. And as you see in the list, we have different data types, which is signed and unsigned. Each data types except a string and an object includes a value range. A compiler as C# will give you an error if a value goes out of data type's permitted range. For example, a int data type's range is -2,147,483,648, and it goes up to 2,147,483,647. So it can go in either direction, either in a negative value or in a positive value. So if you assign a value which is not in this range, then the compiler would give you an error. As example, I will show you an error. So if we type something in our console with console write line, and before that we are going to create a variable of an integer, or let's use a byte as a better example. So we are creating a temporary byte, which we are calling number as example. And the number has the value of 240. Now we can print out this number in our console application. Right here. So what the console now does, it takes this number and will print it out in our console application. But what if we go above this value, above the max range of a byte? So if we hit, for example, 256 and we hit start, you can see that we're directly getting an error of our compiler. It basically sees constant value 256 cannot be converted to a byte, since a byte only has a range up to 255. The reason behind it is because developing a software, as example a calculator, it is necessary to have different variables and data types to make the system work faster. So if you know from the beginning, as the example, you have a number with a range between 1 and 255, you can use a byte. So there's no need to use a long instead. which number is actually pretty long and I cannot pronounce this number. So it makes sense to use a less data type constant as example with a less range, so the system runs smoother and faster in its calculations. That's basically everything about data types. And also you can, as example, if you have two different data types, for example, you got a byte with the number 5 and you also got an integer number 2 equals to 10, you can combine different data types together, but you need to differentiate decimals data types with normal data types. So a decimal data type, as an example, is a float, is also a double, and is also a decimal. So the reason you cannot combine a float with an integer is because a float always has a comma value, is a decimal number. But the system automatically rounds up a decimal number to its next number. So in example, if you have a float number 3 equals, in example, 55,4, okay? Then the system, and you basically want to print out an integer, which we can do right here. So first of all, we are printing out the number 3. So what prints out the console application? It will print out 55,4. But if you are converting the number of the data type float into an int, so you put an int before the number 3, it automatically rounds up or rounds down the number of the float. So what the console application should print out now, it should be 55 straight. So let's test that. And there you go, 55. And if we change the value from float 55,4 to 55,6, with this way you can combine different numbers. As example, we can make now a little calculation. We can calculate now a byte with an int together. So we can say a number plus number 2. There you go. And now it should print out 15 in the console application, as you can see right here. And that's the reason why data types are necessary for calculations, so the program runs faster. For more resources and help to get you started with this wonderful learning journey, you can go to SIXR.tv. I hope you did like this little introduction about data types, and we are going to see us in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in, and bye.